A year on from Android 16 and with a massive Material 3 expressive update in between, Android 17 is now ready for prime time, and here's everything and every single feature you need to know. If you love Android, well, you're in the right place. We love Android from top to bottom and everywhere in between, so do me a favor and hit that subscribe button to A, potentially be my friend, and B, to get all of our Pixel and Android videos beamed right into your inbox. Cheers. A little bit of housekeeping right up top. Sadly, this is not a huge sprawling update because it is the precursor to potentially some greater changes in Android 17 QPR1, likely just after the Pixel 11 launches later this year. That update will build upon this Android 17 release and include some features that are already available, which you can test as part of the public beta program. So as I say, this is a small launch and this video is broken down into UI changes, usability changes, and cosmetic changes, just like every release previously. So use those timestamps to navigate. But first up, let's get into the compact settings menus. You might notice right away that some, not all settings, sectional headers, and the menus that they use are smaller in Android 17 versus the previous version. This does not actually affect the main settings view pane, the first one that you land on, but is prominent in areas such as deeper menus and subsections within them. Options are just a little bit more compact and take up a little bit less space, allowing for more information to be displayed on your screen, particularly on smaller screens like the A series. When your Pixel device accesses location, camera, or microphone hardware, there are brand new privacy indicators in the upper right corner of the display. These are much more compact than they were here in Android 17. The icon sits in an oblong with an integrated chevron to show that you can actually access further controls with an extra tap. If you do tap this, the pop-up is identical with no changes to the privacy control system UI here, but each icon is actually self-contained within its own colorful loop here and colorful icon so that you can see just what is being accessed at any point in time. When adjusting or setting app location permissions, there's a brand new refined UI to show what each setting means, and when you access them, the circular elements have been fully replaced with squircle pop-ups and a more detailed indicator to include check marks to show you which option you have selected, that being precise or approximate. The option is highlighted, which I do think is an improvement over the abstract selection tool used in Android 16 and older builds. And provided the application that you are using supports live updates, here in Android 17, you might notice a cleaner pop-up with a larger activation button for various tasks. For instance, with Google Maps, the exit navigation button will be much more larger and more prominent, and this is clearer than the tappable, or at least the tiny tappable text used in Android 16 and older. And when you enroll your fingerprint for biometric access on your Pixel, there is a new animation and pre-enrollment process if you have the increased sensitivity option enabled in display and touch settings. This gives you a mini animation showing the optimum process for registering your fingers or your digits. It also has a setup with screen protector option that was actually added back with the Pixel 10 series. This will let you scan a QR code of the supported Made by Google screen protectors, which you can skip past though to get digits enrolled if you don't have a Made by Google officially supported screen protector. This wouldn't be another Android release without a host of usability enhancements aimed at making everyday device interaction smoother and more intuitive, and this section of the video will detail these core changes to the Android 17 experience, which does include a few functionalities. The first of which is that the sidebar volume panel that appears when you use the side button to control this level has gained a new settings icon that will appear at the bottom of this floating panel. This actually just resembles the full dial controls in a smaller format and replaces that 3-dot breadcrumb icon that was used before. Tapping this just opens the full volume control setting cards, and it makes it a little bit more obvious that you can access more settings from this section quickly. In settings, the account and backup menu has been combined into a single menu that is a top level option, making it easier to add or remove on-device accounts, back up your phone, or even get ready to send or receive data from existing or new devices. And if you have a Pixel that supports satellite SOS calling and SMS, there's a new quick settings tile that you can add to quickly access this feature. This was previously hidden behind a developer toggle, so you could enable it that way, but is now available by default to everyone with a phone that supports it. It is worth noting that satellite SOS is only available if your phone has an active SIM or eSIM installed to use this tile. And after years of experiments with app bubbles, they are now back as a new feature here in Android 17, although it isn't quite that new. And they allow you to use applications in a floating window over any other in-app or home screen section. You can stash these floating icons anywhere to the left or right side of your screen for quick access to this multitasking. Any app on your phone can work in a bubble. You can long press on an icon and there will be a new bubble option in the app's quick menu if you do want to access this. You may notice there's a plus key here with the bubble section. It's basically a recent menu for bubbled applications and allows you to quickly re-enable previously closed applications. Tap the icon again to minimize or drag it to the bottom of your screen to dismiss it, like if you would a mini video player. You can also tap the manage button to quickly dismiss a bubble if you want to get rid of it in a different option as well. And with Android 17, Quick Reply has actually changed in how it works by adding an extra step to the function. Instead of the suggested messages instantly sending to your contact, tapping a generated reply will actually enter it into the mini text box that appears. This allows you to make any pre-adjustments, adjustments, changes, maybe even change up the text entirely, or check the response that you've chosen before you hit the send button, which I think is a nice touch, although it does add an extra step. You can also choose here in Android 17 which applications will use the enhanced dark theming controls that were added in a previous version. This function has been around a little while and forces apps that ordinarily would not support dark theming or dark mode to do so. When enabled, this was a system-wide toggle that could break apps that already supported dark themes. With this setting, you can specify which applications will be forced into this mode. Android 17 also features fully separated Wi-Fi and mobile data quick settings tiles, and this just makes it much easier to adjust or make those adjustments on the fly, but these improved toggles actually have extra utility. So if you use the default 2x1 tile arrangement, tapping the left side, which is the Wi-Fi or mobile data icon, quickly enables or disables this, turning off and on. Tapping the right side of a 2x1 tile will actually open up the quick menu for choosing the Wi-Fi or data network. If you resize to 1x1, the tile will just quickly toggle this setting on or off and removes one of the biggest frustrations in that Wi-Fi toggle in particular, finally here in Android 17. Gemini and other assistant volume levels are also now fully adjustable here in Android 17, separately from other system sounds. And this update allows you to quickly adjust how loud Gemini will respond to you. There are a couple of ways to do this. You can go into settings and then adjust a new option within the sound section, or when conversing with your assistant of choice, you can actually tap those physical side buttons and a new slider will appear that you can adjust and manage in real time to just basically tune it to your heart's content. Screen recording has received a full feature overhaul here in Android 17 with a brand new floating pill control system that mimics those app bubbles we mentioned earlier while recording your device screen. This brand new pill has more quick toggles to adjust things like audio recording settings, while actually choosing the recording target does remain similar to previous versions. The start button actually streamlines the process, meaning you can get recording super fast, much faster than previous. And when you stop recording, you get access to a new preview menu that shows the recording and allows you to make things like instant edits, share the file, or instantly delete. Tapping new allows you to start recording instantly again, something that wasn't possible with the previous iteration. If you want to quickly save an image or something similar to your device, well, the Recents menu has gained a dedicated save option that allows you to save files from within this section. If you save a picture, for instance, it will be stored on the Pictures folder on your device, but it doesn't work every time with every single option in the Recents menu, but this is a brand new tool, something that might save you a bit of time. When using biometrics, you actually no longer need to tap an unused UI section or use a back gesture here in Android 17 to close the biometric access sheet, as you can just use a new toggle in the upper right section of this stashed panel to quickly close if you happen to require it. It's just a little X, tap that, and it'll get rid of it. When using applications in split screen, you can also quickly access touch tabs to adjust by 10% increments by tapping the middle divider. This will bring up colorful arrow controls, which are dynamically themed. You can tap to resize these without dragging the bar itself. And if you reach the upper or lower limits of the screen and have 10% left on one of those options, these will morph into an X, just allowing you to close that smaller application. Not necessarily the greatest touch, but something that is a nice option, especially if you don't want to leave big smears on your screen from dragging and dropping. And provided you have multiple user accounts set up on your device from the main or admin account, you're actually able to adjust whether other user profiles can access or adjust your saved Wi-Fi networks on that device. So you go to Settings, Network and Internet, choose the Wi-Fi network you're currently connected to, and then you will have a share network and allow users to edit network option. The former means you can prevent other users from accessing any saved Wi-Fi connection, while the latter stops that person from making changes like passwords, security, and other Wi-Fi specific privacy settings. This might be useful if you want to keep certain networks private or inaccessible on a shared device, for instance. Pixel 10 devices updated to Android 17 have gained a new comfort filter option that allows you to make adjustments to the various components of the device display. This builds upon the adaptive tone function, which is limited to the Pixel 10 lineup. Comfort filters basically let you adjust the intensity of the warmer tone shift in various lighting conditions. You can also adjust the intensity of the night light setting from within here with full custom schedule control from this brand new section. Although it is worth noting that night light is not a new addition, it's just a new home on Pixel 10 devices. Parental controls are also improved here in Android 17 with a better dashboard to manage this family system. It is accessible right away without needing to be enabled first. The new menu includes App Store filters right from the get-go, but it does actually redirect to the Play Store for you to make adjustments to this. There is also a new onboarding process for Family Link that will take you step by step through the process of setting up a phone for your child or young relative. But yes, parental controls got a little bit of an upgrade here in Android 17. Although available by searching on existing Android 16 devices, the Ask Your Pixel feature is now working here in Android 17. It does require a quick LLM or update to download, then allows you to ask various questions about your device for troubleshooting, problem solving, all that kind of thing. However, it is still buried under a search within settings. There is no obvious way to access aside from this. We're hoping this might come to the My Pixel application, but you can get help with problems by searching for Ask Pixel, enabling this, and you can ask all kinds of things about your device. You might also notice something slightly different when using gesture controls or how reactive the Predictive Back gesture here is in Android 17. It definitely appears to be more reactive and shows much more of the UI you are returning to if you do use this. This should definitely help with the navigation methods, but it makes it marginally clearer when and where you'll end up when going back using gesture navigations. In the location permissions section, there is also a very minor change to the wording around GPS or location access. It now says allow every time or allow when you share. And this just clears up any confusion as to what this means when you briefly let an app or service access your location day to day. Developers are also now able to use a new system-level contacts picker that can allow a selection of individuals from work or personal profiles. Much like the limited image picker option, it only has read-only access to specific contacts for that enhanced privacy, so expect it to come to more applications very, very soon. There is also a system-level EyeDropper API that's been added here in Android 17 that devs can use for more accurate color selection without requiring sensitive screen capture access. Another one of those developer functions we do expect to come to more applications very, very soon. And as always, Android 17 brings about lots of new features, but it also includes a number of visual or cosmetic updates. Although there aren't that many this time around, these refinements are designed to just better complement and enhance your day-to-day experience with your phone. And one of the first of those is actually, alongside those new privacy indicators, the color of these indicators has actually been darkened. You may remember that blue and green are used for these, but the colors are turned down and definitely less aggressively neon this time around. And while we are waiting for more blur in the full Android 17 QPR1 update, this first release actually features a few touches of system blur, maybe a little bit of a taster of what's to come in future, including in the widgets panel. You'll notice it has some Gaussian blur applied to the background that mimics the quick settings section, but overall that is about the extent of the blur here in the base level Android 17. In the wallpaper and style application, you're actually able to disable app labels or names from apps on your home screen for the first time. And this is in the icons tab if you want a cleaner Pixel launcher experience. Just enable this, disable this. It'll have text. If you have it disabled, enable it, text will be removed. So if you have no notifications, you'll see a Your Caught All Up message instead of no notifications with a trophy glyph to show that this has been cleared. When Do Not Disturb mode is enabled, the old notifications paused by Do Not Disturb appears to be removed here, but we're not sure if this may come back in a future release. Google has paid attention to a number of system animations here in Android 17 with a lot of extra playful touches and extra bounce visible with certain UI interactions. In the quick settings panel, for instance, pop-up menus will give motions an extra pop when returning to a tile and resizing, a bit like a jelly or jello effect. This is also visible when using apps in that picture-in-picture window, so the entire animation is smoothed out when returning to that application, but overall it just helps the cohesiveness of Material 3 Expressive. Although not publicly being referred to as Cinnamon Bun, the Android 17 SystemUI icon resembles that sweet treat which is associated with this build. You get to see this when you get system messages or you happen to plug your phone into a PC or Mac. And super small but super important, everywhere you expect to see Android 17 will be updated in system settings like storage, system updates, all of those places you expect to see it. Yes, it will be changed now to Android 17. And the Android 17 Easter egg is a small one this year that features the Landroid theming that we've had for quite a few years now. You do have to do a small dot-to-dot constellation puzzle that barely constitutes a challenge. Just join all of the dots and the Android 17 logo will briefly appear like you would expect. And then that is followed by that Landroid Easter egg. If you do happen to hold this, let it vibrate, it'll launch into something we've seen for a number of years now. So as far as Android releases go, we have another fairly small mid-year update, as tends to be the case over the last few years. It's barely 40 major or notable changes in this version. That is small even by those recent standards. And as it seems to be the case as of late, I do think the looming shadow of Android 17 QPR1 and the various announcements made during the Android show have changed how this update probably could be viewed. That said, it's not the most comprehensive, but we didn't expect it to be ahead of time. I want to ask you though, what do you like most in this release? And are there any features missing from Android 17 that you wish were here? Yeah, get into it down in the comment sections below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this release. I want to say thanks for joining me. And as always, I'll speak to you later.